before history etched her name into songs and scrolls, before the torches of 1,000 courtiers lit her wedding procession. She was simply a child, a girl who loved to chase sunlight through the palace gardens, her bare feet slapping against warm stones, hair tumbling loose behind her like a stream of midnight silk. Her laughter was bright, then unguarded, full of life. It filled courtyards, startled peacocks, and made the old gardener smile against his will. She didn't know that, even as she laughed, powerful men were already writing the script of her future. Her family was one of the most influential noble houses in the kingdom, wealthy, ambitious, and dangerously close to the royal bloodline. In that world, daughters were not raised to dream, they were raised to secure. Marriages were weapons, smiles were strategies, and a girl's worth was measured not by her heart, but by the alliances her body could forge. From the moment she could walk, every gesture was shaped, every word rehearsed. Her nursemaids whispered royal etiquette as lullabies. Her mother corrected her posture with gentle but unyielding hands. Her father taught her to bow just so, to hold her gaze in a way that was both submissive and unforgettable. She was not being raised as a child, she was being prepared. By 9, she was already part of the court's silent theatre. She attended royal feasts in miniature gowns stitched with pearls, sitting quietly beside her mother, watching the men with their jeweled turbans, and the women with eyes like sharpened blades. She noticed the way conversations curved like daggers, how smiles didn't always reach the eyes. At first, she didn't understand, but children in palaces learn quickly. At 10, she overheard the conversation that ended her childhood. It was late, and winter winds howled through the corridors. She was sneaking toward the kitchens for honeyed figs when she paused by her parents' chamber. Her mother's voice, low and urgent, sliced through the door. They want her for the prince. Do you understand what this means? If she becomes queen, our bloodline will rule for generations. Her father hesitated. She's only 10. She's beautiful. She's obedient. And she will do as she's told. The girl stood frozen, her small hands pressed to the cold stone wall. She didn't fully grasp the meaning, but she understood the tone. Something had been decided for her. Something vast, unstoppable. The betrothal was announced in spring, beneath trees heavy with jasmine. Courtiers filled the gardens, their robes glittering in the sunlight like beetle wings. She wore a white silk dress and a circlet of gold that slid uncomfortably against her scalp. Everyone smiled at her, but their smiles were strange, hungry, calculating. She stood beside the prince, a boy of 15. He had a handsome face but cold eyes, trained to conceal boredom behind polite charm. When he looked at her, she felt like an object being appraised, not a person. The kingdom celebrated. Musicians played until their fingers bled. Dancers spun like torn ribbons in the wind. Bells rang through the city. Yet inside her chest, a seed of dread took root. From that day forward, her lessons changed. She was no longer taught simple poems and embroidery. Now she studied royal protocol, religious rituals, dynastic history, and most of all the delicate art of survival. She learned to speak in layers, what to say, what to imply, and what to hide. She learned how to cry without making a sound. Older women in her family trained her ruthlessly. A queen must never show weakness, her aunt whispered one night, combing her hair. Smile with your lips, never with your heart. Hearts are easy to break. Her tutors corrected her posture until her spine ached. Servants watched her with a mix of envy and pity. Some whispered prayers for her, others whispered predictions. Everyone knew the palace was a nest of vipers, and she, young, beautiful, promising, was being led straight into the den. As her 14th birthday approached, the pace quickened. Seamstresses worked day and night on ceremonial gowns heavy with jewels. Religious officials rehearsed blessings. Nobles prepared dowries and gifts meant to flatter the royal family. She spent hours standing still while others pinned, measured, and adjusted her body, treated like a ceremonial statue. Sometimes at night, she would sneak out to the courtyard where the fig trees grew, the same place she had once laughed so freely. She would climb to her favorite branch, wrap her arms around her knees, and stare at the stars. Up there, away from the whispers and the heavy silk, she could pretend just for a few moments that she was still that little girl who believed the world was hers to discover. But the palace walls were closing in. The final weeks before her wedding were a blur of ceremonies and rehearsals. Every step was choreographed, every breath monitored. She felt herself being hollowed out, reshaped into a symbol, a bride, a future queen. Her name was on everyone's lips, but no one asked what she wanted, and somewhere deep inside, a quiet terror began to bloom. She could not name it yet, but it was there waiting. The kingdom saw a radiant young queen-to-be. She felt like a bird being dressed for its own cage.